Dear students, again I am Dr. Jamill Abbas from the Physiology Department, and here's a new video for you which is concerned why there is ST segment elevation or depression during an ischemia, injury or infarction. Before going into the details of all these things, uh, I would like to tell you that this all is theoretical basis. And this is a theory that how we see that there is a ST segment elevation or depression, which is a cardinal sign of ischemia injury or acute ischemia or acute infarction. Now let's see the process behind it, how it becomes elevated, how the ST segment become elevated or depressed. You will see the normal, this is your normal ECG, follow my cursor now. And here after the S wave, we reach it to the J point. This J point is the point, junctional point, where all your ventricles are depolarized now. After that depolarization, when all the heart has been depolarized at this point, and this heart remains depolarized, that's why there's an isoelectric line, which is known as T segment. From the J point to the beginning of the T, this is the reddish line, this is ST segment. And then we have got the T wave. After the end of the T wave, up to the next P wave, we have got this we have got the TP segment. So here in the ST segment, heart is completely depolarized, and this is the repolarization. This T wave is the concerned with the repolarization of the heart, and here the repolarization is complete, and whole of heart remain repolarized throughout this area, throughout in the TP segment. Now, how this ST segment become elevated or depressed during an ischemia, injury or infarction? Let's see the situation. Here, concentrate on this red box. This is your red box. This red box is the normal heart muscles, and here within that box you have got the black boxes. These black boxes are the cardiac muscles, and cardiac muscles outside this is your interstitium. Around that there is interstitium. Inside the muscle, inside the black boxes, inside the cell is normally it is negative, minus 90 millivolt. And this resting membrane potential inside the cell is because of the leakage of potassium out of the cell. Here you can see the arrow that the potassium is going out. And this minus 90 negative potential is because of potassium leaking out of the cardiac cells through potassium leak channels. And if you see the interstitium outside the cell, we have got more sodium ions, that is more positivity outside. Here you can see the sodium, more positivity outside, and inside the cell is negative. This is the normal situation in which our cardiac muscles are present. Now, when there is a wave of depolarizations comes, whenever there is a wave of depolarizations comes, the situation is now going to be reversed now. The situation is going to be reversed. And that situation would be like this. Here, that the sodium which was out here, that will move inside. Sodium will come inside and inside will become more positive. So outside the cell become negative, that the interstitium become negative, and inside the cell become positive. And when the repolarization starts, sodium will remain in and potassium is going to be out now for the repolarization. This is the process of depolarization. When the wave of depolarization reaches, then outside the cell, that is interstitium become negative. Here interstitium was positive. Here interstitium is negative, and inside the cell become positive, and some of the sodium it will leak out of the, sorry, some of the potassium moves out for the process of the repolarization. So this is the situation. Now, when the cardiac muscle is injured or whenever there is ischemia or infarction, this area remains depolarized forever. That means Actually, the problem is that the sodium potassium pump, which is present over here, and the channel, leak channel for sodium, voltage gated over channel, they all are destroyed here. When they are destroyed, the sodium remains trapped inside, cell inside become positive, interstitium become negative, and potassium is more outside, although the potassium inside is also, but potassium is becoming more and more outside. Now this is the situation when this is normally it is present when the heart is depolarized, or it is also present whenever there is an injury or infarction. So during infarction, or you can say after the infarction, that injured area remain depolarized forever. And this is the dangerous area. Actually, this is the dangerous area. Up till now, uh, just we are going to stop here and we are moving to another things that consider on this diagram. Here you will see that this is the normal heart. Here heart is the normal, the outside is positive, just like here. Outside is positive, and here there is a wave of depolarization. That is here wave outside become negative. Now this is the subendocardial infarcted or injured area. This is subendocardium. That is very near adjacent to the endocardium. This is your endocardium. Here adjacent to the endocardium, if there is an injury or infarction, this is known as a subendocardial infarction. And this subendocardial infarction, that this area remains depolarized forever. Now, when the impulse, normal impulse generated by the SA node travels throughout the heart, that is all the heart is going to be depolarized, and injured area is also depolarized. So there will be a no difference. That means normally the wave of depolarization is moving all the way down to the heart, including the injured area which is already depolarized. So there is no extra vector or extra current can be seen because all the heart has been depolarized, including the injured area. This is the one situation. Second situation, again you will see, uh, again you will see that this is here in the lower portion. You have got infarction and through whole of the myocardium. This is known as the transmural infarction. The infarction involving whole of the musculature of the cardiac muscle ventricle. Now, when this area, the upper diagram or the lower diagram, suppose this is the diagram. When this upper area, this in this diagram, whole of the heart has been depolarized in a normal way, and there is no current of injury. But when the heart is going to be repolarized, that means when the heart is repolarized, that means when we reach to this segment, T segment, this is the area when the heart has been repolarized. So when the heart will be repolarized, but this area still it remains depolarized like it. That means the whole heart has been repolarized. Situation in the whole heart is repolarized, but the injured area is still depolarized. Now, in this condition, when whole heart has been repolarized and injured area is depolarized, now this injured area can eject an current that is known as the current of injury. This can emit a current which has got a vector, and this current is known as the current of injury. Now, if this current of injury which usually travels towards the recording electrode, and remember that this current is coming in which area? When your heart has been repolarized. And we are here at the TP segment where whole of the heart has been repolarized. Now, when this current of injury originates and it moves towards the electrode, then you may see an upward deflection. Now, stop here and we see another diagram. Here, move to this diagram. You will see that at the minus 90, we have got the normal negative voltage within the cardiac muscles. Then the action potential starts, and there is acute, you can say, immediate entry of the sodium inside here. Then there is repolarization, potassium going to leak out, entry of the calcium inside. then a calcium channel block, and only potassium going to leak out. This is the whole depolarization and the repolarization, this plateau and the repolarization of the ventricular muscle. Now, when this area, consider on this area, which has already injured area or depolarized area, here negativity inside the cell is less, that because more positive ions are moved in. So here the baseline or becomes less negative or moves towards positivity. That is, it may reach to the minus 50. So the current of injury will originate from the baseline of minus 50. So the baseline for the current of injury is different from the baseline of the current injury, normal depolarization, that is minus 90. Now back to this diagram. Here, the normal isoelectric line, the origination of impulse is from the 90, from minus 90. But when the impulse will be generated by the current of injury from here, now the baseline will be shifted. It may be upward and downward because your baseline is starting from minus 50. So the baseline will be the different over here and it will be different from here. Now, back to this area. If the current of an injury, that is in the subendocardial infarction, it usually moves towards the recording electrode. Now, when this electrode will record this current of injury, which has got different baseline, and this it is because toward the recording electrode, so it will causes the upward deflection of its baseline. So this baseline TP segment will be shifted upward, and once it is shifted upward, you will feel as that your ST segment is depressed. Compare with this dotted purple line, which is upward shift of the normal TP segment. This TP segment is shifted upwards because the baseline of the current of injury is starting from the minus 50 spores, because cell has become less negative inside in the injured area. So the baseline is above the normal isoelectric line. When the baseline is shifted upward, you will feel that TP segment is depressed. That's why it is said that the depression of the ST segment is a sign of ischemia or angina. Now move to the second diagram. Here you will see there is a transmural infarction through and through, whole of the myocardial valve is involved. In this case, when the current of injury is originated, it usually moves away from the recording electrode. Whenever it is going to move away from the recording electrode, and again keep in mind that this current of injury will be generated in the phase of repolarization of the heart. When the whole heart has been repolarized, then this current of injury will originate, and this current will shift its baseline because it is moving away from the recording electrode. It will shift the baseline below the normal isoelectric line. This TP segment, which is bluish in color, not this baseline is shifted below the normal. When this TP segment is shifted below the baseline, and you will feel as that there is an ST segment elevation. Actually, students, it is not the ST segment which is elevated or depressed. It is the TP segment which is elevated or depressed. But we feel, it looks like that there is an ST segment depression or ST segment elevation. So normally, ST segment depression is a sign of ischemia or subendocardial infarction, while ST segment elevation, where TP segment depressed, is a sign of acute infarction. Keep in mind that these ST segment changes are seen in the acute injury or acute infarction. After a few days, these ST segments become normal. So this was all about why the ST segment is depressed or elevated during acute injury. Now, another sign for the ischemia is the inversion of the T wave. In the acute case of infarction or injury, there may be an inversion of the T wave also. This T wave inversion is because when the ST segment is more elevated, this T wave may be depressed in this way. but we are more concerned with the ST segment elevation or depression. So the student, this was all about why the ST segment is elevated or depressed in ischemia, injury, or infarction. Thank you very much.